Did I risk spending $64 on the mere possibility of getting my milk tea fix whenever and wherever my little heart pleases? Yes, I sure did. And today we're gonna decide whether or not it was worth it. The milk tea maker in question is called the Mini Milk Tea Mug, which is very hard to say, and it was bought, well, technically backed, on Kickstarter, one of the more popular crowdfunding websites. The reason that I say I risked it and that I backed the product, not bought it, is because when you buy something off of Kickstarter, you're actually just donating to the company in support of the concept. Technically speaking, you're not guaranteed anything in return. Kickstarter even refers to products on their website as perks, just to remind backers what they're getting themselves into. We can get into the purchasing part in a minute here. Let's first check out this milk tea maker. The mini milk tea mug came in a labeled box with an instruction manual, either a 220 volt or 110 volt cord, and a cleaning brush. You wouldn't know it by looking at mine, but the portable machine actually has 5 different modes. Originally mine did have the modes clearly labeled, but after about 6 months of use, the ink has worn down quite a bit as I've cleaned the machine. There's the milk tea mode, the traditional tea mode, the coffee mode, the milk foam mode, and the stir mode. I gotta be honest, I only really use the milk tea mode. I think that's where the true value of the product is. For the traditional tea mode, you can make tea wherever you are with just hot water and tea leaves, and I'm not entirely sure about the coffee mode. I've never made coffee like this before, so we'll have to try that today. The milk foam feature could be handy, but I tend to use my little milk foam frother out of the sheer habit. And then there's the stir feature, which originally I couldn't find too much of a reason for, to be honest, but as I've been experimenting a little, I've actually found it to be pretty convenient. To make a milk tea, it's super easy. At the bottom of the machine, there's a hot plate and a frother. Then there's a tea strainer compartment that fits onto the lid. To make your tea, just pour your milk of choice to the max line. You can add water too if you don't want it to be too creamy, but I do love a super creamy latte. Then put your tea of choice into the strainer. I'm using masala chai mix for this one, and press the milk tea option, and voila, that's it. About 8 minutes later, the mug beeps at you, and you'll know your latte is ready. The hot plate heats up the milk, and the frother stirs the milk to steep the tea, making it nice and strong. Afterwards, I like to remove the tea strainer, add my sweetener in the mug, and use the stir function to have my chai latte ready to drink right out of the machine. This function on the machine works really, really well for me. You can make other tea lattes like London Fogs by using your favorite Earl Grey tea blend, then use the stir function to add your vanilla and sugar for a comforting treat. You can make a black tea and sweeten it with brown sugar while it's hot, then chill it for a kind of easy brown sugar milk tea hack. Then there's Thai tea blends that you could do similarly. You can make it and then sweeten it while it's hot. I'm using a coconut condensed milk here. And again, just chill it for a homemade Thai iced tea. You can make a lovely matcha latte, which fully redeems the stir function. Since matcha is powdered, sweeten it with a sweetener of your choice and maybe a little vanilla extract. Pour that over ice and you have an iced matcha latte. If you drink tea like I do, this could really save you a lot of money from spending it at like Starbucks or other fancy coffee shops. Okay, let's try this coffee function out. Typically I use those little Nespresso pods to add those to my tea lattes, but I wanna see if this part of the milk tea maker will actually work. I think this would be a really good time to try this drink I've been curious about for a minute here. It's called Yuanyang, and it's a Hong Kong style of tea and coffee in one. I think Malaysia has a very similar version to it. Coming from the US, it does sound a little bit different, but we do put espresso in our chai lattes, so it doesn't sound too off base. Typically speaking, I do see people making their milk tea first, and then their drip coffee, and then mushing them together, but we're just gonna put everything in our milk tea maker. First, I'm gonna fill the mug with about 1/3 of the way with just water, and then the rest with oat milk, since that's what I have on hand. Now in the tea compartment here, I'm gonna put about 1/2 tablespoon of a roughly ground dark roast coffee, and a full tablespoon of a strong black tea. Okay, let's try this button out. Okay, so the coffee button looks like it's just heating the milk. All right, well, I'm gonna use the milk tea function so it'll stir it. There we go, that looks much better. So now I'm gonna put 2 tablespoons of a sweetened condensed milk. It's supposed to be pretty sweet apparently, and now use the stir function. I'm so excited to try this. I actually ended up icing it because I saw pictures of it both hot and ice. And due to the condensed milk, I think I'd really enjoyed ice. So cheers guys, let's try. Yeah, I really like, the tea has some floral notes to it, and the coffee has those darker chocolate, almost some bitter notes, like dark chocolate, and it's delicious. So I probably won't be using the coffee function again, purely because it probably makes it closer to like a French press style of coffee. And I typically will either have cold brew or espresso or my milk tea. So I probably won't be using that function too often. I love that the milk tea maker perfectly just serves one person. And I also love that it cleans very easily, which is crucial because I feel like I'm just constantly doing dishes and I can always do for a little less time to the sink. Okay, so now that we know the machine can do what we want it to do, let's talk about the purchasing part, which in a word, it was tedious. Like most crowdfunding purchases are. I think it took about 5 months from when I backed the product to when I actually ended up getting it. Granted, I did back the product pretty early on, and I imagine if you backed it now, it'd probably only take about a month to get to you. However, when I was looking through the comments of Kickstarter, I did notice that some people didn't even receive their perk, or there was a discrepancy in which cord they ended up getting. To me, it looked like they didn't send out a questionnaire to everyone asking which voltage people preferred, and then instead of asking people directly for that information, the product just sat in their warehouses until someone complained they hadn't received their perk. That's just my impression though. I don't know why some people didn't get their mug. So all of this considered, was this milk tea maker worth the $64 and the 5 months of waiting for the product? Yeah, I would say it is, at least for me. I use this thing like 3 to 4 times a week. It's super convenient. I would say that the labels need better protection as well as the back silicone part. It needs to be a stronger silicone so it can hold its shape better. But otherwise, I really do love it. Would I recommend you to go out and back this product? I'm not sure. I would say look at the comments that are listed on Kickstarter and make an informed decision from there. If you do end up backing the product, I would recommend emailing the company directly, asking for the cord voltage that you wanted, as well as the tracking number, since communication seems to be a little bit of an issue for them. Anyway, that is all I have for you today. I hope you really enjoyed this video. I'd love to hear what you think about the product in the comment section below. And if you do like videos like these, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much. Bye!